Welcome to our 2020-2021 Year in Review webinar. I'm Diana Wynn, President of the League of Women Voters of Wake County, though that will change at the end of this session when I introduce your new incoming president, Cheryl Ting. Due to the pandemic, we are unable to get together for an in-person annual meeting. In lieu of that, we conducted our annual elections earlier this month, online and via mail-in ballots. And we're holding this special year in review webinar session for our members. Before we begin, I want to go over just a few technicalities in terms of how we are using Zoom for this session. Except for the presenters, everyone is muted and not on video. We are not doing a Q&A session as part of this program. If you have specific questions, please feel free to email me, another board member, or the relevant committee chairperson. However, we will ask you a couple of questions later in the session via the chat feature. Those questions will be, what could LWV-Wake do better, and what do you love about the league? And you can also provide other feedback and comments. Please don't put your answers to those two questions into the chat until we get to that portion of the program a little later. In the meantime, you might just think about your answers. Otherwise, feel free to make any other comments you would like in the chat box throughout this program. The comments will be saved and shared with our league leaders. This webinar is being recorded and will appear on LWV-Wake's YouTube channel in the next few days. This webinar will take an hour or less and will cover the following. I'll review some of our many successes this year, and I think you'll be impressed with all that the league accomplished, especially under unusual circumstances. The membership has already voted to approve the upcoming year's budget, as well as revisions to our bylaws. Members also voted on candidates to our board of directors. Our nominating committee co-chair, Naomi Lambert, will review some of the leadership changes, particularly on the board, as we prepare to begin the next fiscal year. You will then hear from our treasurer, Elaine Okel, who will present a brief budget report. Then our board secretary, Laurel Velker, will guide us through collecting some feedback from our members. Remember those questions I mentioned a moment ago. As your outgoing president, I will have some final remarks. And finally, you will hear from your incoming president, Cheryl Ting. And at this point, I am going to go off of video, so my video does not interfere with the slides. You'll see me a little bit later in the program. This past year was a year of many challenges. We began the fiscal year in 2020 in a pandemic. The pandemic triggered a national economic crisis, which exacerbated existing problems such as access to quality health care and affordable housing, both issues that our league works on. The 2020 election was particularly challenging with evolving voting regulations, as well as election misinformation. We began our fiscal year in 2020 when there were still challenges with the decennial census. And of course, we have seen much political turmoil this year, including an insurrection at our nation's capital. I would be remiss in not also mentioning the difficulty our league faced with the loss of a beloved league leader, Sheila Den. Sheila served on our board as vice president and before that as our secretary, and was a leader on numerous committees. Sheila served as a delegate to both the national and state league conventions and was a league representative to the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. After a courageous battle with cancer, we lost Sheila in November. She continues to be missed by many of us. Despite the many challenges we faced, we had an extraordinarily successful year. Our Voter Services Committee offered 12 virtual candidate forums. They also sent over 3,300 postcards to voters to encourage them to vote and to let them know about our Vote 411 resources. Our Redistricting Committee sent state legislators over 500 postcards urging them to support redistricting reform. We have a hardworking membership committee, and we saw a 13% increase in LWV-Wake membership this past year. We continued our emphasis to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion by offering 12 roundtable discussions and 4 book discussions. We significantly increased our outreach to both members and the public through our website and social media. And we had a full year of virtual events and activities, more events than ever before. Let me now go into a little more detail on some of our accomplishments this year. We began the fiscal year in 2020, which was the 100th anniversary of the founding of the League of Women Voters in 1920. Unfortunately, we were not able to host the anniversary gala in September that we had hoped. However, our remaining centennial events were offered virtually, and we continued to be presented with special recognition for our 100th anniversary. I'm pleased to report that by the end of 2020, we were honored with special proclamations and resolutions from the North Carolina House of Representatives, the Wake County Board of Commissioners, and all 12 of the municipalities in Wake County. Our voter services work is at the heart of the League's mission, and our volunteers were busy offering candidate forums, registering voters, monitoring the meetings of election boards, and pushing back against election misinformation. Their work organizing and promoting vote411.org is particularly impressive. Vote 411 is the League's online nonpartisan election guide that can be found at vote411.org. Our volunteers made sure that all the candidates in Wake County had an opportunity to include their information, and most candidates did participate. Our volunteers then set out to promote this resource to voters through radio advertising, signs at polling locations, and postcards mailed directly to voters. For the 2020 election, Wake County voters visited vote411.org over 66,000 times. This represents an increase of 67% from the previous election cycle. All of our events were held virtually via Zoom this past year. After I counted them all up, I discovered that we sponsored over 70 events for the public and for members, more events than ever before. And these events don't include the countless board and committee meetings convened via Zoom throughout the year. And in all those Zoom committee meetings, what was the most often heard comment? You're on mute. I know we're all anxious to get together in person again, and hopefully that will begin soon. During this past year, we've reached more people than ever through our social media platforms and our website. Our Facebook followers increased by 23%, Twitter followers by 30%, and Instagram followers by 86%. This was the first full year we used YouTube to make our webinars available to the public, and we had almost 5,000 views of our videos. And traffic to our website increased by 181%, with almost 45,000 page views. And while we were reaching more people, we were also growing membership. We now have 468 members, including 51 student members. This is a 13% increase in 1 year and represents a 77% increase across the last 5 years. And we continue to be the largest local league in North Carolina. We are an all volunteer organization, and our work would not be possible without our dedicated members who also volunteer their time. 32% of our members actively volunteer to help do the work of the League in some way this past year. While that's a decline from last year, it is certainly impressive to have almost a third of the members of an organization volunteering their time. I think that as we're able to return to in-person activities, we'll likely see an increase in our volunteerism. And what are all these volunteers doing? The list is far too long to detail here, but most of the work of the League happens in our committees. Almost a third of our members are serving on at least one committee, where they work to advance the League's position on policy issues, help us operate the organization, and plan activities to engage the membership. So thank you to all 148 of our volunteers for all that you do for the League. One of our major accomplishments this year was to convert from a 501c4 organization to a 501c3 organization, which is simply a tax status designated by the IRS. This does not significantly change what we do or how we do it. We've always been a nonpartisan nonprofit organization. But as a 501c3 organization, we can now accept tax deductible contributions, which should improve our fundraising ability. And speaking of fundraising, we had a very solid fundraising year. We had several fundraisers resulting in a total of over $20,000 raised. And as you can see from this chart, our major fundraiser around Women's Equality Day raised significantly more than it ever has, in spite of having to be hosted virtually this past year. Why is fundraising so important to us? As you can see from the chart on the left, almost half of our operating budget comes from donations, almost half from membership dues, and only 2% from grants. You may wonder why membership dues do not cover more of our expenses. As you can see in the chart on the right, membership dues are split three ways. When you join the Wake League, you also become a member of LWV-US and the North Carolina League, and a portion of your dues is sent to both of those organizations. LWV-Wake keeps only $16 out of a $60 membership. And as our league grows, so does the budget needed to do the work of empowering voters and defending democracy. While we are an all-volunteer organization, our volunteers nevertheless need resources to carry out the league's work. As you can see from this chart, last year's budget increased considerably. And this month, the membership voted to approve a budget of a little over $50,000 for the upcoming year. A little later in the program, our treasurer will give you some more details on the budget. Our increasing budget needs would not be fulfilled without the generous support of our donors. So thank you all for your support. In just a moment, you will hear from our nominating committee co-chair about upcoming leadership changes on the board. But before we do that, I would like to recognize an outgoing board member. Diane Pyan is leaving the board and is relocating to Colorado. In addition to serving on the board, Diane was also our Timely Topics co-chair and was instrumental in helping to plan and moderate a series of highly successful Timely Topics webinars this year. Diane, thank you for all that you have done for the league, and we wish you well as you embark on a new chapter in your life. I do have a certificate of appreciation for you that I'll mail to you in Colorado. I'd now like to turn the next segment of the program over to Naomi Lambert, who will present a report from our nominating committee.
Hi, everybody. I'm Naomi Lambert, and I'm speaking for myself and for Jackie Giordano, my wonderful co-chair for the last 2 years. For those of you who are new to the league, I'm going to explain briefly how the nominating process works. The nominating committee's job is to ensure that there is a league member willing to serve in each existing leadership position, and then to report the names of those members to the chapter's president. This year, we worked with the board to ensure greater transparency in the nominating process. In brief, this is what we did. In January, we contacted existing board members to determine who was continuing their board service and which positions might be open. In early February, we asked the board and committee co-chairs to recommend candidates for the board openings. In mid to late February, we issued a membership-wide call for board nominees, and we followed up with those who were interested. So by March, the board positions were filled and we moved on to the committee co-chairs. Our goal is to have at least 2 co-chairs for each committee. Co-chairs are existing committee members who have demonstrated their enthusiasm and commitment to the committee. We are planning to create a leadership development program to encourage members to become more involved in committee work and to facilitate a pipeline for future leaders for the Wake League. So please watch out for more information. Leadership positions fall into 3 categories. The first category is the Board of Directors. Board members are elected to 2-year terms. Being a leader of the Wake League is an honour and a reflection of the confidence of the members in that nominee's abilities. Those nominated to the board are selected for their past and current service and continued commitment to excellence and inclusion in the league. Board members are responsible for the overall stability, strength, and integrity of the organisation. Each board member has a specific area of responsibility, for example, voter services or communications. It is also worth noting that some board members are also committee chairs, for example, membership. Each year, there are some board members who will be moving into their second year, the continuing members, and then others who have been re-elected or elected for the first time, the elect members. All of you had the opportunity to vote for the new board members. Diana, could I have the next slide? This year's continuing board members are Elaine Okol, Treasurer, and Laurel Volker, Secretary. Next slide. This year's re-elected board members are Cheryl Ting, incoming President, Jenny Katora-Lynch, Communication for a single year, Dale Cousins, Membership, and Marion Lewin, Voter Services. Thank you to all of you for running again. Next slide. Our newly elected board members are Candice Blackley, at large, and Retta Riordan, at large. The second leadership category is the nominating committee, and Jackie Giordano and myself have also been re-elected. Could I have the final slide? Thank you. The third category of leaders comprises all the committee co-chairs. Committee chairs are not elected by the membership. Our chapter's membership has grown enormously in the last few years, and we have a growing number of lively and productive committees. This slide gives you an overview of committees and co-chairs. You'll be able to consult the annual report if you want a more leisurely perusal of the details. Well, that's my report. Thank you so much to everybody who helped us with that. And I'd now like to pass along the presentation privileges to Elaine Okol, our esteemed treasurer.
Sorry, all, I forgot to unmute. Ha ha ha. Thank you, Diana, for putting that lovely comment in, because that is what we've heard the most, even though some of us have been doing 2 and 3 Zooms a day. Anyway, so on to the budget report. We have, as thank you, Diana, for including the slides that show how our membership has grown, and thus with the membership growing and all of our activities, our proposed budget has grown for this year as well. Please, Diana, the next slide. So there on this slide, we see the income categories that we had for 2020 to 2021, what we actually had in 2020 to 2021, and now the proposed budget. Because we have gone to a 501c3, our new budget fiscal year will be July 1 to the end of June of 2022. And we will have our dues have been increasing, and so we have estimated $22,000. That brings us up for a proposed budget income of $52,002. Always need that $2 from the bank interest. Next, please. And then we have 2 slides containing the expense categories. Again, the proposed for 2020, 2021, the actual, and then the proposed for 2021 and 2022. Because of our increased budget, we have increased the amounts allowed for many of our committees. And you will see this in the proposed amount. A lot of the committees were having $100, and now a lot of them have 200 and some more than that. We do not have, since we're not celebrating the 100th anniversary, that's been taken out. And I have added in amounts for two very important new committees, the DEI and the Girl Scouts. Then we have our overhead expenses, and you want, please, the next slide, Diana. Thank you. And these are continuing. Before we had a category called board expenses. Moving forward, we will be calling this operational expenses, as that is more in line. And then we have our PMP national and state. That is based on the membership we had as of January or February. I apologize, I don't remember which one. Our taxes may go up, we're anticipating, and then Women's Equality Day, we have more proposed funds. And then thanks to Diane, we did have some t-shirt sales last year that we had not proposed a budget for. So we may have other items for sale this year. So we have that. So the total expenses is $52,002. And you will see going into last year, we had one grant, New Citizens Grant for 2020 for $1,000. And then we received two additional grants, Vote for 411 grant and Voter Registration Grant, each for $1,000, thanks to Marion Lewin, sorry, getting my people mixed up. And then we have the assets, a little over 31,000. This is as of the end of our past fiscal year. And these are the amounts there. So if anyone has any questions, please let me know. You can put it in the chat.
Yeah, or people can email you, Elaine, if they have specific budget questions.
Yes, thank you. Okal, OKAL 24@gmail.com. And with that, I'll turn it over to Diana.
Great. Thanks, Elaine. We have truly had an extraordinary year full of activity and accomplishments. Unfortunately, we don't have time to detail all of it in this webinar. So I encourage you to take a look at our annual report, which is available on our new website. You can find it by going to LWV-Wake.org and scrolling to the bottom of the website and simply clicking on resources. I think that when you look at it, you'll be impressed with all that LWV-Wake has done this year. I'm now going to turn the program over to our board secretary, Laurel Velker, so we can get some feedback from you, our members. Laurel?
Hi, everybody. So we have a few questions for you. These are the questions Diana showed you at the beginning. So I'm going to type the question in the chat, and Diana will flash it up on the slide, and then we'll just ask you to type in your answers, and we'll save the chat, and at our upcoming board retreat, we'll see what we can do better and what we love about the league. So our first question, Diana, if you want to animate that, is what could LWV-Wake do better? Keeping in mind, of course, that we don't have any paid staff. So I will ask everybody at this point to go to the chat, and I'll give you a minute or so to share.
Yeah, and I would remind everyone, we really want you to use chat, not the Q&A feature.
Yes. And you can find the chat down, the little chat icon down at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Okay, we'll give you another couple seconds on that one.
And there's some great suggestions that I know that
Yes.
the incoming board will look over very carefully.
Okay, so our next question then, Diana, if you want to bring that on, is what do you love about the league? So I'll give you a little time to tell us about that. And again, our chat box is down at you can see the chat icon down at the bottom of your screen. Okay, give everybody a few more seconds to share what they love. See lots of love for our members. That's the thing we all love the most, I think. And then finally, if there's any other feedback or comments that you would like to share with the board, you're welcome to put those in the chat. You're of course also always welcome to email or otherwise get in touch with any board members. So again, any last feedback or comments, you're welcome to share that in the chat. Okay, and the chat's still open, so if you think is something, you can still add it. But at this point, I am going to turn it over to our outgoing president, Diana Nguyen, who will give us her final remarks and then introduce Cheryl, our new president.
Great, thank you. I'm going to stop screen sharing so I can feel like I'm speaking to you. When I began my term 2 years ago, I looked forward to celebrating the league's 100th anniversary. I expected a hectic US presidential election year, and I knew that the league would require a lot of time managing the day-to-day business of the organization. However, none of us anticipated a pandemic. In retrospect, I'm thankful that I had the meaningful work of the league to keep me occupied this past year, though I have very much missed seeing all of you in person. I'm proud of what our league has accomplished in the past 2 years, and it is all due to our dedicated league volunteers working within our numerous committees to implement projects and programs. And I cannot thank our volunteers enough for all that they do. During my tenure as president, I was fortunate to have an exceptional board of directors. Comparable organizations pay staff to do what our board members do for us. We are truly an all volunteer grassroots organization. Our board members, along with our many committees, approach this important volunteer work very often as if it were a paying job. And I've enjoyed working with all of our board members and appreciate the countless hours they have devoted to the league. I love the League of Women Voters, and I'm deeply committed to its mission. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about what I love about being a league member. First, I respect the league's nonpartisan approach to issues. Certainly, partisan political activity is important in the whole scheme of things, and it is one important way to engage in advocacy. However, the league throughout its 100-year history has remained nonpartisan, basing its positions on thorough research and analysis rather than on political ideology or to align with the wishes of a political party. Nonpartisanship is the foundation of the league's credibility and influence, and I love that about the league. I love the League's commitment to serving voters by providing reliable election information, fighting for voting rights, and then encouraging voters to exercise their right to vote. No other major organization has such a long history of being a trusted source of nonpartisan election information. I love that the League is truly a grassroots organization. When you join the League, you have the opportunity to be active in the League as little or as much as you wish. That means that if you choose, you can have a seat at the table in making decisions on what issues we work on, help determine strategies, and actually engage in advocacy. I love that the League provides members with opportunities to learn. As a member of the League of Women Voters, I have learned more about political issues, how government works, and how to effectively engage in advocacy than I did in my involvement with any other organization or even in political science courses in graduate school. Because the League never expects a volunteer to be an expert on an issue or on how government works, I have found my experience within the League to be particularly a welcoming, collaborative learning environment. Finally, I love that the League has given me the opportunity to meet and get to know other members. Together, we've worked on important issues, planned big events, discussed interesting books, gone on fascinating field trips, spent countless hours at the legislature together, and shared a few bottles of wine. I have friendships within the League that I will treasure for the rest of my life. It has truly been an honor to serve as LWV-Wake's president these past 2 years, and I look forward to continuing to be an active League member. My presidency has come to an end, but I know that the League will continue to flourish under the leadership of your new president. Many of you are already familiar with Cheryl, but let me tell you just a little bit about her. Cheryl Ting has served on the LWV-Wake board, led our fundraising efforts, and served as our advocacy director. She has also co-chaired both the redistricting committee and the social committee. Prior to relocating to North Carolina, Cheryl worked in the banking industry, coordinating marketing and managing the portfolios of high net worth individuals and small businesses. She has served on the board of directors for the American Heart Association Golden Triangle branch in California, served as president of her neighborhood HOA, and has held leadership positions on various committees at her children's school. Cheryl previously worked for a political fundraiser in San Diego, where she helped plan events for national, state, and local campaigns. Cheryl holds a bachelor's degree in business administration and finance from Ohio State University. I now turn the remainder of our program over to your new president, Cheryl Ting. You're on mute, Cheryl.
And of course, I had to start off with that. Thank you, Diana, for the warm introduction. I'm honored to serve the League as president for the next 2 years and look forward to continuing to lead a magnificent organization that serves to engage and advocate for a better democracy for all. I'm going to screen share here. Before I talk a little bit about looking beyond, I'd like to take a few minutes to recognize and honor our beloved Diana. Diana joined the League before I did. However, she was one of the reasons that I felt I had chosen the right organization for my frustration of the political climate. The other reason was the very warm welcome phone call I received from then President Marion Lewin, who encouraged me to dig right in and even invited me to lunch to talk about redistricting with some other fairly new members. All were very welcoming. Diana viewed the position of president as not only a full-time position, which is a labor of love, but also as one who could lead this organization through a period of tremendous growth. This meant bringing a whole different level of organization to the League. Diana, using her professional communication skills, quickly compiled lists. We have lists, we have checklists, and planning documents, and written procedures for pretty much everything now. And I did not realize just how important all these lists and procedures would become until about 6 months ago, when it became apparent I would be taking the reins. The organizational quality of the league now rivals that of much larger organizations with paid staff. In addition to organizing us, Diana was a leader who always looks for ways to increase the league presence in the Wake County community, including among local and state government, the voting public, and other like-minded organizations. She not only looked for opportunities to form coalitions with other organizations, but she also shares her skills and our league resources with other leagues across the state. Diana is a team player and she believes deeply in collaboration. But I think we all agree Diana's most commendable achievement was leading this organization through a pandemic. We all learned new definitions of the word pivot and adaptation, and we all learned about some company called Zoom. But Diana helped us put it into practice. She provided that sense of, okay, somebody here knows what we should be doing. She led the board to make timely decisions of when to close the office, how to find a workaround for our annual meeting, which, by the way, until our bylaws change, couldn't technically be called an annual meeting, and ensured that the next board would have the tools to navigate should another emergency or disaster happen. She encouraged us to ford a hedge with events, knowing that we still needed to continue to be engaged in important issues that affect our democracy, even as we wondered where we were going to score our next package of chicken or package of toilet paper. Diana has paved the way for this organization to continue its mission. And while she is taking some much needed personal time, she knows we all welcome her continued involvement with the League. I'm going to stop screen sharing just for a moment so that I can present to you Diana. Diana, you are a wonderful mentor and a friend. And on behalf of the board of our members and our membership, I would like to present to you this statue recognizing your service to the League, as well as a gift of relaxation to the Umstead Spa. Thank you for all that you've done for the League.
Thank you. I will proudly display that plaque. It's been an important part of my life. And you know that I will enjoy some time at the Umstead Spa. Again, it's truly been an honor to serve as the League's president. And I'm now going to turn things back over to you so you can tell our members about some exciting upcoming plans. Thank you, Cheryl.
Great, thank you. Okay. Now I'd like to take just a few more minutes to briefly discuss what lies ahead for the League during 2021 and beyond. First, if you haven't yet noticed, we have a new website. LWV-US formed an agreement with a member management software company called Club Express as a way for local and state leagues to better manage their membership and league activities. There are many state and local leagues across the country who have transitioned to Club Express over the past 4 years. The biggest reason that LWV-Wake decided to embark upon a new league management system was we needed to lessen the amount of volunteer work in managing our league, specifically their annual renewal process, as well as donation acknowledgements, so that our most active members could engage in more meaningful ways and automate the paperwork tasks. As I mentioned, there were many benefits to transitioning to a member management platform. After the board decided last year to examine this platform, as well as other companies who provide similar services, a Club Express research committee was formed with members that could weigh in for their particular areas, including membership, communications, development, and finance. We spent approximately 6 months researching and learning, and after a trial period, felt that while no company provided what we liked best in each and every category, Club Express did provide everything we needed. And because of their relationship with LWV-US and their ability to collect and pay national PMP directly, as well as their experience in membership renewals, we decided to forge ahead. I served as the project manager with the goal of having the website and membership transferred to this new platform in time for the annual membership renewals when the first notice starts June 1st. And as you can see, we did it. The way Club Express operates is that there is a public view website and a member view website. And I've shown you both of them here. They are the same site, but the member view will have additional tools as seen in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see in the member view where I logged in, my name appears as well as a drop-down menu. Also, you can see a forums page links that takes you to various committee conversation threads similar to Google Groups. And just to note, you'll need to opt into these forums in order to view these conversation threads. So what does this transition to Club Express look like for our members? Well, all of the member information has already been uploaded to our roster management. And to begin this transition of members accessing the member side of the website and to renew your annual memberships, you will first receive a welcome email that's either going to come tonight or tomorrow from LWV-Wake, which I will show you in just a second. And it contains your login ID and a temporary password. When you log in, you will be prompted to change your password to something unique, create your member profile, and opt into committee forums. We're also going to offer a training session about Club Express and how to create a member profile for anyone who's having difficulty, or if you just have some questions about Club Express. We're going to have that on June the 8th, and the registration links for that are going to be provided in my upcoming update this Monday on May 31st, as well as the member website. And we'll probably also promote it again in another update the week after. So I just want to show you, this is a sample of the welcome letter that you will receive tomorrow. And you can see that it provides a login ID and a temporary password. And I want to make sure you know to look for that tomorrow. And if you don't see it in your inbox, please check your spam folder. And then make sure that when you log in, that you bookmark that website so that you can return to it easily. Again, you will look for the member login on the upper right, and then you'll see a drop-down menu. Here's a sample of my member profile page once you log in. You can see I uploaded a picture, and if you look at the right-hand side, you will see a video icon. If you click on that video icon, you can see that there will be a video tutorial on how to complete your member profile. You can also click on the question mark icon for a written tutorial. So just to reiterate, please look for the welcome email from LWV-Wake tomorrow with this information, and we encourage you to log in and join us on our new member platform, Club Express. So as we move forward, there are other great things that the League has planned this year and will continue to do to serve you, the members. I will be hosting our annual board retreat for new and returning board members as we review our strategic plan and create new goals for the year. We will continue to watch HB 326 to see what it morphs into during this summer's legislative session and continue to advocate against its passage and any voter suppression. We will continue to advocate for additional transparency during the upcoming redistricting round, and we invite all members to support us during our largest fundraiser of the year, Women's Equality Day, which will be held in person this year on August 26th. Please save this date on your calendars. The invitation to support us with a sponsorship will be online this year versus a mailing. So we really need you to complete that member profile and support the League so that you will receive all this important information. So what else are we doing? Well, we have 13 active committees that are always looking for volunteers to assist in carrying out our mission. Timely Topics, our signature program, is currently planning its upcoming series. Our membership committee is actively working to engage our new members, and as always, at the core of our mission is to continue to register and educate the voters of Wake County. With all that we've been planning going forward, I want to ask, what is the best thing that we can look forward to? Being together again. You do have to admit you kind of missed this, right? Look at us all together. So as our country emerges from the grip of COVID-19 and we are seeing higher rates of vaccinations in the Wake County, yay, we do want you all to think about what is your comfort level in attending in-person events. And as such, we are considering the following. And I would ask for you to, after you log in to the new member website, that you will see a survey that pops up on the member side. And if you could complete that survey, letting us know your thoughts about transitioning back over the next year, that would help us determine what kind of event should we start in person, what should we do and keep going virtual going forward, because I know that some of us are kind of comfortable being able to log in for a committee meeting in our sweatpants. So there'll still be some of that, but that we do want to take opportunities to get to see each other again. And so with that, good news. I want to thank you for attending our year in review and supporting the League of Women Voters of Wake County. Together, we look forward to making an impact for the citizens of Wake County. And this concludes our year in review. Thank you all for joining us.